All right, everyone, please come take a seat. We're going to get this started. Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Let's adjust this. I'm a little too short for this. All right. A little bit more. That's good. All right. Hi. It feels strange to be standing here after so many years, as though, a lot has changed and nothing has changed at the same time. I'm Masi Altein. For those of you who don't know, I'm the eldest of my father, Shmuly, the person we are commemorating tonight. He would always start the night off with a joke. My father's biggest joy was seeing people smile and connecting to them with real authenticity, which a lot of people skip over many times. But he knew how to get right to the heart, and I'm going to do my best to follow in his legacy. I want to start the night off by welcoming everyone. For although it's been a while, I grew up here for a good 13 years of my life. I remember the building of this exact building, actually, my father showing me around upstairs and over there, and it was really, truly his biggest pride. Thank you all for coming tonight. It's an honor and privilege. We're going to start the night off with my grandparents, the inspirations who raised my father into the amazing man he was, who held his heart forever, the people who were my teachers and my mentors and hosted us over and over again, my Rabbi and my Zaidi, Altein, the Rabbi and Rabbi.
First of all, I wanted to thank everyone here and those who are not here, countless people who have been very supportive in this very difficult time. There's nothing that is more painful than to lose a child, a son, not just a son, but he was a father and a husband, son-in-law, and sibling, brother. And besides that, he had tremendous impact to so many people. It's amazing. So I want to thank everyone for their good wishes. Rabbi Shmuly was a bright child, a bright student, and he was also someone who, everything he did, he tried to plan it, everything he learned, he tried to get into it, get all the details, understand it well, and if he got into a discussion, if he gave classes, which he did, he got into it very deeply and well. And in fact, there's many things that Shmuly and Adina did for Winnipeg that is the foundation of what we have today in many ways. We know about the Torah Tats, which is successful, extremely successful, continued with Hannah, but it's something that Adina and Shmuel founded. He started the JLI courses. He started to work with young professionals. He did many, many things, but moreover, more than what he did was how he did it. He did what he did always with a very special sensitivity for other people in ways that are truly outstanding. I can tell you that while we sat Shiva, and even after that, there were hundreds of people that sent notes. People came over to me privately again and again and said, Rabbi Shmuly was my best friend. Okay, he was his best friend, but the next person comes over and says it, and the next person, and the next person. Because even in the last years and the last period of his life, when he had such unbelievable pain and suffering, but when he met somebody, he was totally into the other person's situation, and he gave advice and support, emotional and other kind of support to other people, totally busy with the other person. And it's actually, that was always a special sensitivity, special chush, and a special inborn good trait. Remember, he worked with people in Shaftesbury and was very successful as well with that. And remember, I had for Rosh Hashanah, I had a shofar of my own. I had another two shofars, but they weren't the greatest. I blew them okay, but he got himself a shofar. It was just a beauty. He blew it, and it went very loud and strong and clear. And then I meet him, and he has another shofar that you could really blow. And I asked him, what happened to your shofar? So he told me he was in the Shaftesbury. First he didn't want to tell, but then he told it. He was in the Shaftesbury, and an elderly person was there who had and the person asked him, he wanted to know how to blow shofar too. So Rabbi Shmuly gave him his shofar, and this man took the shofar and then walks away with it. And then this man tells his own son that that's his shofar. Right? He unfortunately didn't remember exactly, his mind was going a bit, but Shmuly did not want to make that person feel uncomfortable, and he let him keep his shofar. But this is one little story. It happened throughout his life again and again in many, many different things. There's a very beautiful teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Chabad Chassidus. We know that in Chabad, one of the major things that the Rebbe introduced was to be a shaliach. Shaliach means that, in contrast to most communities, a person is busy with his own career, and you want to live in a place that's comfortable for your family, to have both spiritually and materially a good place to live in. The idea of being able to sacrifice whatever you have to go out and do something for the Jewish community at large, to go to all kinds of forsaken places and do what's needed, no matter what you have to give up of your own. This was a very important foundation of Chabad. Shmuly, of course, did it to the nth degree, not just working as part of what you do as a shliach of Chabad, but because he truly sensed other people. And the Baal Shem Tov teaches a very beautiful thought. He says, God sends down to this earth a neshama, a soul, to live 70, 80 years, could be more. To mutzenzich, we go through difficulties, and all because the purpose is because somewhere in our life, we're going to do an act of kindness for another person. How do we call that? We call it a tova, a tevaton. It's worth the whole life so that somewhere in there we do a kindness, an act of kindness. And he says a person lives 70, 80 years, because that's the regular time a person can expect. If we get extra, that's an extra blessing. But not everyone gets to live that time, and Shmuly didn't. And so for that, I'm going to quote a very interesting and very important lesson we could learn from it, from the Talmud Yerushalmi, the Jerusalem Talmud. It's found also in Midrash. But one of the greatest of our sages was named Rabbi Chia, like Chaim, Chia, with Aramaic. And he had a son who passed away as a young man. And he was crushed, he was broken. And an elder sage called Ula was the name, comes to him and he tells him, gives him a parable. He said there was a king who had a beautiful pardes. Pardes means like a garden. And he hired workers to keep it, everything lush, everything beautiful. And he watches what's going on there. And he sees that there's one worker who's diligent and expert, and he's working without stop. Amazing work. And then he takes this fellow and he says, come with me. He takes him for a walk, for a stroll, shows him this, shows him that, and before you know it, the day's over. And he pays all the workers, and he gives this fellow only the same amount as he paid everyone else. And the other workers complain. They say he only worked for 2 hours. We worked the whole day. Why does he get the same? So he said he accomplished in those 2 hours more than you accomplished the whole day. The best tribute we could give for Rabbi Shmuly, for his neshama, is if we each tried to do a mitzvah in his memory, in his chutz. There's many mitzvahs we could do. Mitzvahs from the most spiritual, putting on tefillin. We have tefillin, a special tefillin club that Shmuly started years ago on Sunday mornings here. You could always, by Menachem Mendel, our son, is continuing that. You could do it on Sunday morning. You could also, if you have a mezuzah at home, get a kosher mezuzah, like your Shabbos candle women. Any mitzvah you can do, or tzedakah. Tzedakah, of course, is an important thing. So that's Torah, tefillah, and tzedakah. And I want to wish that each one of us from here on should only be able to share with each other lots of happiness, lots of health, including Shmuly's family, Adina, and her children, should have health and happiness and many long years together.
Okay, so I just have a few thoughts that I want to share with everyone. So what could be comforting after, God forbid, you lose a child? What could you possibly have that's comforting? So I sat down and I thought of a few things. First, I wanted to explain the custom that we have, that when you go to visit someone who's sitting Shiva, there's a pasuk that we always say, Hamakem yinachem eschem b'serch sha'ar ve'letzion v'Yerushalayim. What does that mean? May Hashem comfort you among all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We're all mourning our exile. We're all not comfortable in our exile. We're inundated nowadays with anti-Semitism and difficulties. We think about the Jews in Israel. It's especially lately, it's been a very difficult time. But we're all mourning, and we're saying to the people who are really mourning, we're with you. We're mourning for your loss, just like we mourn for the loss of Yerushalayim and Zion. And that means that we're all really family. We're all mourning together. And I find that very comforting, because it means that we're all a family. We're not alone in our troubles. And I have to say thank you all very much for sharing this with us. I find that very comforting. There's another thought that I had, that, you know, when a child is born, we're very thrilled. We make a big deal. It's like a ship, a brand new ship. You know, you have you make a party. The ship is going to be taking off, and it's a very happy occasion. But when the ship finally comes back to port, and it comes back with all the cargo that it's supposed to, that's also a very special thing. And I think about, you know, when you're finally coming back to port and you're bringing your cargo, what kind of cargo could you bring when you go to heaven? What could you bring? We can't bring anything physical. The only cargo is what Hashem told us, the Torah and the mitzvahs and the good deeds that you did. Good deeds, that we care about each other, that we have Avat Yisrael, that we do what we can to help a fellow Jew. And I think about Shmuly, and as he was going through his life, and sometimes your ship goes through good waters and easy waters, and sometimes it goes through through big storms and very difficult places and very difficult times. But eventually, when you come back to your port, to the place where your soul came from, you're going to bring your cargo. How do you get cargo? So I wanted to just give you another example of a candle, a flame. If you have a flame and you want to light another flame, it doesn't diminish your flame. You've just shared it and made more light, and you have the same amount of light and warmth that you had before. And I think about Shmuly, and that's what he did. And Shmuly went and he really filled his ship, overflowing with all the good things, the warmth, the Avas Yisrael that he did, and it means a lot. And I do want to say that he especially had tremendous warm feelings for the people of Winnipeg. You helped him grow up. You helped him make him the person he is, because it's not only parents who raise a child, it's the community as well. And all of you have contributed to him and for him, and everything that you've done has brought a huge light now for him and for the world. And when we have enough light in this world, it means that our exile is going to end. It means that someday, and very soon, it looks like now, if you would look at the Navi, you would see that a lot of things that are happening in our world are predicted. And so I want to thank you all for all the things that you did. And the truth is, this is what gives me comfort, because I don't feel alone and I don't feel separate, from others. I feel like I'm with all of you. Okay.
All right. If you all look behind you at that wall over there, you will see a sample of over 300 quotes. My father used to post a status every day with quotes from sources all across the world, inspirations, motivations, stories, jokes, and I think they're all very practical and can connect to each person. There's also very cool magnets that will be explained more later on, so you're all welcome to take and bring home. They're there for you guys to keep forever, if you would like. And one of the quotes on there is fitting now, actually, and it's the quote, "Mothers hold their children's hands for a short while, but their hearts forever," said by Dan Frankenstein. And I think we can clearly see that with my grandparents. And I'd also like to say thank you to my other grandparents, my mother's parents, who have showed up over and over and over again, flying all the way out to Winnipeg from California, which is a very drastic change. And they have just really been incredible. Right now, we are going to welcome Jeff Lieberman, the President and CEO of the Jewish Federation. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share a few words this evening. It is a privilege to join you as we gather to honor the memory of Rabbi Shmuly Altein. Rabbi Shmuly was an incredible, passionate leader of our Jewish community who was well respected. Our community mourns a beloved husband and father, an exceptional teacher, and a devoted shaliach whose warmth and humility enriched our community in a profound and lasting way. When Rabbi Shmuly and Adina arrived in Winnipeg in 2008, they came not simply to serve a community, but to become part of it. They brought boundless energy and genuine love for everyone they encountered. Through his teaching, his leadership, and his remarkable ability to make every individual feel valued, Rabbi Shmuly helped strengthen the fabric of Jewish life in our city. The Lubavitcher Rabbi taught that every Jew is like a candle. A single flame may appear small, but its purpose is to bring light, and it can ignite countless others without diminishing its own flame. Rabbi Shmuly embodied that, and he kindled that light in others through Torah, through friendship, and through a life lived with faith and purpose. My personal interactions with Rabbi Shmuly were always so refreshing. He had such a welcoming personality, and he made everyone feel special. I had a number of conversations with him about life, and I studied with him in a Zoom course during COVID. To be honest, I forget what the course was about, but I do remember how I looked forward to the weekly class. After Rabbi Shmuly had to leave Winnipeg for treatments, his impact here did not. The initiatives he helped build, the people he mentored, and the countless acts of kindness he performed continued to ripple throughout our community. Long after a conversation ended or a class concluded, people carried something of him with them. Perhaps one of the most extraordinary lessons Rabbi Shmuly taught was not only through his words, but through the way he faced adversity. Through his illness, he remained steadfast in faith, generous in spirit, and focused not on himself, but on uplifting others. His courage reminded us that strength is not the absence of hardship, but the determination to continue bringing light into the world, even when surrounded by darkness. The Talmud teaches that the righteous, even after they depart from this world, are called living, because the goodness they create continues to reverberate like an echo after they are gone. Rabbi Shmuly's life gives profound meaning to those words. His voice echoes in the Torah he taught. His kindness lives on in the people he inspired. His example endures in every act of compassion and every soul encouraged to draw closer to Judaism because of him. To Adina, to Musi, JJ, Shmuly, Goldie, and Yossi, and to the entire Altein family, please know that Winnipeg mourns with you. We are deeply grateful that Rabbi Shmuly shared a part of his remarkable journey with our community. His memory is woven into our story, and his legacy will continue to guide us. May his memory forever be a blessing, and may we honor his life in the way he lived it, by strengthening our faith, caring for one another, and adding a little more light to the world each day.
All right. Hard to follow that one. My father, over the years he was sick, used to push himself above and beyond. If he didn't have an appetite, he would force himself to eat the food that was put in front of him. Having a hard time working, he forced himself to continue walking. If he was having trouble walking, to keep walking out of the wheelchair. Every step, he pushed himself above and beyond. And he fought to live over and over and reminded himself of what he was fighting for. He was fighting for his family and for all those he loved, related or not. He chose life over and over and over again. It's the quote on the magnets over there. And keeping this short, I'd like to call up the people in my family my father fought to live for, which is my family, my siblings, JJ, Shmuly, Goldie, Yossi. And each of them are going to come share a thought. JJ?
Can we make this a little louder? Just a drop. What? All right, everyone can hear me? Okay. It's wonderful to be back in my hometown after 6 years, seeing familiar faces and the overflowing memories, like, wow. My dad was known for his disappearances. There was so many times he would go out for a quick 5-minute errand to pick up the kids from school or to grab something from a nearby store. But then hours would pass and he wouldn't come home. He would be like, yeah, I'm going to pick something up, be back in 5 minutes. And 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, everyone's like, what's going on? Is everything okay? Like, what happened? But then the secret came out. See, my dad had this incredible love to meet people. He loved visiting people, lifting them up, doing whatever he could to put a smile on the face of another. This was his passion. So whenever he was sitting in the car, he just couldn't resist. Driving back from the superstore, what's the other one called? The thing. He would pass by a friend's house or see a familiar face walking down the street, and he just had to stop. He would roll down his window, and he would make the person standing there feel like $1 million, $1 billion. Oh, yeah. I remember on Rosh Hashanah, so we lived like 45 minutes away from Chabad, and we would walk every Shabbat. Rosh Hashanah, on the way back, it's a 40-minute walk. That walk turned into about 4 hours. That's what my mother told me to write. I think it was more like 7, 8 hours. So my parents would pack a big bag of treats. They thought that would keep us busy for 7 hours. And they would stop by Jewish homes to share the joy of the holiday. They would wish Happy New Year, and they would blow the shofar. And for those of you who remember, he would, in his candid way, with a smirk on his lips, look you in the eye and ask, what are your hopes and aspirations for this upcoming year of 5, 7, whatever it was? Even after we moved to Muncie for treatments, my father's love continued to fuel his life. Left with 30% lung capacity and a wounded leg, which made walking nearly impossible, he insisted on blowing the shofar for those who needed it. Refusing to be disheartened, with strength and honor, he even found the power to do his traditional 45-second Tekiah Gedola again and again and again. Anything for another Jew. Now to the Dvar Torah. Recently in the Torah, we read about the passing of Aaron. And interestingly, the Torah actually tells us the date which he passed away, which that was Rosh Chodesh Av just a few days ago. But here's the question. The Torah never records a single date of the passing of any other person. That's right. The Torah doesn't tell us when Abraham passed away, doesn't tell us when Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, any of the other tribes, even Moshe Rabbeinu. The Torah doesn't, not one of them, the Torah does not tell us the date of their passing. So here's the question. Why all of a sudden is the Torah telling us the date of Aaron? What's special about Aaron for the Torah to tell us the date of his passing? Rabbi Yeshaya Horowitz, he's a famed 16th century Kabbalist, famously teaches us that there's a direct correlation between the specific Torah portions we read and the time of year that they're read. Everything has a connection. Nothing's by chance. Let's look at tonight. Tonight's Shloshim is being held in the days leading up to Tisha B'Av. During this time period, we mourn the destruction of the Holy Temple. And why was our Holy Temple destroyed? Anyone know? Our sages teach us that this was because of the hate, the friction, the infighting within the Jewish people. The separation between brothers and sisters, that's what caused this disaster. That's why our Holy Temple was destroyed. And perhaps, ladies and gentlemen, this is why the Torah tells us the exact date of Aaron's passing. The Torah wants to know that Aaron died during this time period, that he died during the day leading up to Tisha B'Av. Why? Because Aaron was the lover of Israel. No matter the circumstances, he chased peace, brought families together, and loved every single Jew with all his heart. So by the Torah telling us that Aaron passed away during this time period of destruction, the Torah is giving us the remedy and the medicine to curing the destruction and ending the exile. Be like Aaron. Our temple was destroyed because of the irrational hate. Let's turn it around with irrational love. What? Good? For me and for so many, this was my father. This was my dad, a living example of Aaron. My father, as a true leader, devoted his life to giving, to helping, to making someone feel loved, feel appreciated, and feel special. No matter who he would meet, whether it's a 90-year-old man, a young boy, mediocre age, or if he was even a nurse at the hospital, right? People that were helping him, he would leave them smiling. as we observe my dad's Shloshim tonight. I hope that I can live the example which he set for me and my siblings. Ubacharta v'chayim. Let's choose light, life, and light up the world. And I hope that together, through our unconditional love for each other, we will finally tip the scale, triggering the ultimate redemption, when we will all be reunited with our loved ones in the Holy Land, with the third and final temple. May it be rebuilt speedily in our days.
There were 4 Bobbies on a bench. The first one said, "Ay." The second one said, "Ay vey." The third one said, "Ay vey's mir." And the fourth one said, "Enough talk about the kids." I must have heard my father say this joke dozens of times. It was definitely one of his favorites. All of my siblings want to share it in the speech here tonight. Somehow, here I am, being the one to share it, because I'm the youngest. I'm Yossi. I want to ask you all to do me a favor. My father's work is not finished. He had many ideas and dreams he told me about, and I'm learning more and more that the actions I take can still help my father. Although he can no longer do mitzvahs in this world, I can do them in his honor. That is why me and my brothers say Kaddish, to bring Kedusha, holiness, into this world. My father was a 4th-generation shliach. That means the Lubavitcher Rebbe sent my father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and my great-great-grandfather on special missions, special shlichus to shine Hashem's light in this world. My father passed away on Hebrew day of Gimel Tammuz, the 3rd of Tammuz. For those that don't know, Gimel Tammuz is a very powerful day. 32 years ago, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the leader of the Chabad movement, passed away on this very day. This is extremely meaningful to me. 32 is the Hebrew letters, the Lamed Beis, which spells out Lev. Lev means heart, the organ that keeps life pumping through the entire body. Interestingly, although my father survived over 18 surgeries affecting his leg, lungs, bones, spine, and brain, Baruch Hashem, his heart, thank God, stayed strong until the very end. We have started a campaign to reach 686 mitzvahs, which is equal to the Hebrew phrase, Ubacharta v'chayim, choose life. Can you believe it? We already surpassed our goal and reached over 900 mitzvahs. I'm thinking maybe with your help, we can multiply that number tenfold, and together we can reach 6,860 mitzvahs. You just need to go onto shmulyaltein.com, choose a mitzvah, and watch it be added live to my father's worldwide mitzvah campaign. In this way, you can become a shliach too, a person walking with this earth with purpose and a mission, spreading acts of goodness and kindness. Tonight, I ask for your support as I step into my role as a 5th-generation shliach. Together, we can strengthen the Jewish people's life, the heart, to pump even stronger and continue my father's vision. I'll now lead us into Hillel Psalms. We will turn to Hashem and ask Him to bring safety to our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael, to heal the sick, and to bring Geula, redemption to this world, so that we can be reunited with my Tati, Rabbi Shmuly, as soon as possible. Thank you. Shir Amalas Habaytchem Adonai Kahartzia and La Yimait La Elam Yeshev. Yerushalayim Harim Saviv La Adonai Saviv La May Me'ata V'Yad Elam. Ki La Yanuach Shevet HaRasha Al Garal HaTzadikim Eman La Yishulchu HaTzadikim Ve'Avlas Yedem. Hiteva Adonai La Tavim Lisharim Libaisam V'Amatam HaKakolaisam Yelechem Adonai Es Payalei Aven Shalom Al Yisrael. The next capital of my father's capital. I'm gonna just say out loud the first and last. I'll say it in the middle to myself quietly. You can say it too. Okay. Kuma az jasalanu of Delaman Kasecha.
Should I put like? You want to go low? You want to go low? Put this.
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Goldie Altein. I'm 14 years old. Rabbi Shmuly is my father. There's so much my father taught me, and I feel so extremely lucky to have had him as a parent. He taught me to reach higher, think bigger, and that I am stronger than I can ever believe. He had such good ideas and such big dreams. He accomplished so much. He was a fire, a light. He would uplift anyone he met, making them feel so special. He was a fighter. He had so much strength. I never saw someone fight so hard just to live, to be able to breathe. He taught me to enjoy life and to appreciate every second and not take it for granted. And the things we are given in life are a gift. One of my favorite things that my father would always ask me was, Goldie, can you get me a good nosh, like something really good and yummy to eat? So I would go rummage through all the cabinets looking for something good. When I would bring up a random wafer I found and hand it to him, he would say, no, Goldie, I mean something really yummy. He really appreciated a good piece of cake or a yummy hot coffee, even if it had to be microwaved 3 or 4 times. He knew what the good stuff was in life and always wanted the best of the best. This really taught me to look at life a bit differently. Uvacharta v'chaim, choose life. Choose to wake up every morning because you want to. Appreciate it. Enjoy the things you get. Be grateful for every moment. Not everyone gets the gift of a long life. And we have to be grateful we have it, even if it's hard and there are challenges. I would ask my father, Ta, how can it be that you're so happy if you're in so much pain? And he would tell me, because I have you and such a beautiful family to fight for. From this, I learned that everyone has something to fight for. And it is up to us to remember to look inward, because real happiness is most likely already in your life. Before I end, I want to make one thing clear. My father made sure that each one of his kids felt loved and as if they were the favorite. But let me tell you a secret. I was really his favorite. One time before my father had to go back to the hospital for more scans, I asked him, So, how are you able to go into these big MRI or PET scans in such a small and dark space for unlimited amounts of time? How are you not scared? And his answer will stay with me forever. He said, Goldie, whenever I was scared, I would think of you, and you were my light in the dark place, and helped me get through it. Ta, tonight I want you to know, you are my light, and you help me find strength. And as I grow, get older, and time goes on, whenever it will get hard, I will think of you, just like you thought of me. You will be my light, and I will carry you wherever I go and wherever life takes me. When you couldn't walk, you carried others. When you couldn't talk, you knew exactly what to say. And when you were no longer with us, you brought us all together. You can never be taken away from me. I love you, and I will make you so proud. Thank you.
I am now going to call up my final but middle brother, Shmuly. Come on up. What? Oh, he's doing a siyum. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's the completion of a part of Mishnayos, and you do what? The entire Mishnayos. Ah, wow. Even I didn't know that. That is incredible. So he's going to come do the CM. Come on up. If you guys all look on your chairs in the booklets, you'll find the CM inside your booklets.
Mishnah Eiseis Neshama. The word Mishnah has the same letters as the word Neshama, which means soul. Every step of Avelos, mourning, the Neshama climbs the ladder closer to Hashem. In honor of the Shloshim, the end of the first 30-day period, family and friends split up the entire Mishnayos, all 63 tractates, in order to elevate the Neshama. I'm now going to be completing all of this learning with something called a Hadron. The word Hadron doesn't mean that we're finishing it, that we're done now, but rather it means that we're going to return to it, that we're going to continue learning. You could apply this to all other areas of your life, to never be satisfied with what you did until now, and to continue growing and learning, to always add. So let's look inside your booklet. The last Mishnah ends off. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta. Rabbi Shimon, the son of Chalafta, says, Lo yimatza hakadosh baruch hu kli machzik bracha al Yisrael el hashalim. The only way for the Jewish people to hold on to God's blessing is through peace. As it says in the Pasuk, God gives strength to his nation and gives them blessing through peace. The peace we're talking about here doesn't mean peace after like a war. Rather, it means peace as in unity between spiritual and physical. And when there is true unison in these two things, God's blessing comes down.
Everyone, tell everyone to use
The same say the tires. So now everyone please rise as my brothers and I recite the Kaddish.
It's my own siblings, and yet we each have such incredibly different yet similar experiences. This is completely not in my speech, but my brother mentioned this a different time, and I actually want to add it in, that it's fascinating how each of my siblings are so different. We're the same, we have the same core, but each of us are very different. And the more you get to know us, the differences, the different ways we see things you'll find. And my father really knew how to make every single person feel like his favorite. We all know I was actually the favorite. And it was a real talent to be able to look at each person, especially as kids, on a whole nother level, and just, you are my favorite. I am giving you my all, and I can continue giving my all. It doesn't drain me in any way. So I thought that was a cool idea. All right. Now we have a lot of speeches on the table. So another quote from my father's statuses is by Maya Angelou, and she once said, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you make them feel." As you've heard many times tonight, my father did everything with his heart, by giving his heart, and showing how much he cared. But something he always held particularly close to him was the place he grew up and the place he lived in, Winnipeg, and his fellow Winnipeggers. With that, I'd like to call up two representatives from a place and a people he loved dearly, Mitch Cosman and David Perret, who's a liver expert, I believe. Please come up. Who's going to start? We're going to start with Mitch Cosman, I believe. Dr. Cosman, I'm so sorry. Dr. Cosman.
Okay. Thank you, Musi. Rabbi and Rebbetzin Altein and Duchman and family. My name is Mitch Cosman, and I'm here tonight with my wife, Marcia. And Musi just kind of stole my thunder a tiny bit because I was going to quote Maya Angelou also. But I think she made a great quote. And she said, you're not going to be remembered necessarily by what you did or what you said, although I think in Judaism we do believe you're going to remember by what you said and did, but more importantly by how you made people feel. And Shmuly made us, me and my wife and others, feel good. And I'd just like to share a few memories of our dear friend Shmuly. Our relationship with Shmuly really blossomed when he, Adina, and their young family moved into a house next to the Shaftesbury, the senior living building. And we just lived down the street, so I was always popping in to their house. I got kind of a nature, I kind of pop in, and especially when I walk my dog. And so some people are very amenable to pop-ins, and others are not that amenable to pop-ins, but Shmuly and Adina wrote the book on pop-in hospitality. They were always so kind and inviting to me, even if my timing to visit was off. And Shmuly and his kids loved our dog, and it was a real experience every time I went over there with Shmuly and the children. So Shmuly and Adina became real neighborhood friends. Shmuly invited Marcia and myself to help him with the very first Kabbalat Shabbat service at the Shaftesbury. And it became a real deal and a really beautiful thing. Seniors coming in this kind of Jewish senior living place to come together on a Friday night to have a service. And I looked forward to that service every week. And it was really a privilege watching Shmuly and, of course, Adina, but Shmuly interact with the seniors, interested, engaged, joking, happy, treated everyone as if they were just like a personal, long-term friend. And the Kabbalat Shabbat service at the Shaftesbury grew and grew, and Shmuly and Adina involved the residents in such beautiful ways and included Yiddish story time where it's delivered by residents as part of the service. Shmuly loved that. And the whole experience just is a beautiful memory that really sticks with us. Shmuly and Adina had Marcia and myself over for so many Shabbat and Yom Tov dinners. We just lived down the street. This included sukkah dinners on beautiful fall evenings and also in the rain. And always with lots of people, lots of stories, and lots of fun. And Shmuly and Adina, they made Judaism sing for us. And speaking of singing, at many, if not most of the Shabbat dinners at Shmuly's and Adina's, Shmuly handed out books where we all sang the song My Zadie. Now, I could give it over to you, but it's not my expertise. But what a beautiful song. I'd never heard it before, had a big impact on me. And the way Shmuly sang that song with such passion, we all sang it together. And the song and Shmuly's rendition of it, it really touched me deeply. So deeply that when we had our first grandchild, and my daughter Rachel asked me how I would want to be, referred to, I thought of Shmuly, I thought of Zadie, and it was just a given that I'm going to go with Zadie, even though I grew up only with Zeta. And so without hesitation, I picked Zadie. And the result has been that whenever my grandchildren say Zadie to me, which is lots, I think of Shmuly. And in that way, Shmuly remains part of my daily life and a part of the joy that I experience from my grandchildren. So while we will miss Shmuly dearly, he will never be forgotten. May Shmuly's neshama have an aliyah. Thank you.
So Thank you to everybody. I don't need to talk about Shmuly. I just have to look at the audience, at the people here. We have a small community in Winnipeg, and just the number of people here, I think, speaks for itself. I was asked to speak a few words, so first of all, thank you for allowing me to share a few stories about Rabbi Shmuly as we gathered to remember him on his Shloshim. It's an honor to speak in his memory, and I'm grateful for the chance to share some personal thoughts and stories. My journey to Winnipeg began in 2009 when I moved from Montreal to pursue my education in medicine. Like many of us who find ourselves in a new city, I turned to Chabad, hoping to find a welcoming community. In 2011, I met Lindsay, my wife, who instead of going on dates to the movies and to dinner, we went to Chabad. We found ourselves attending Shmuly and Adina's home, where we were welcomed with open arms. Their interactions allowed us to explore our Jewish faith and traditions meaningfully. I fondly remember our many Shabbat walks home with Rabbi Shmuly. He always radiated kindness, and his genuine smile made everyone feel valued. Both Lindsay and I cherished our friendship with him. Lindsay in particular found guidance and support from Adina during significant moments as we transitioned from dating to marriage. One of the most beautiful moments was when Rabbi Shmuly and Adina joined us on our wedding day. Rabbi Shmuly stood under the chuppah with us, and his signature on our ketubah hangs proudly in our home. He also helped us affix 18 mezuzot on each door of our house, and assisted in koshering our kitchen when we moved into our new home. The influence of Rabbi Shmuly and Adina continues to resonate in our lives. Our commitment to keeping kosher and observing Shabbat is deeply rooted in the teachings and values they instilled in our marriage. As I reflect on my time with Rabbi Shmuly, countless memories come to mind. The songs we sang together in the sukkah, even on those cold, rainy days, and the inspiring Jewish classes he led at JLI, the young adult division courses, where his passion for sharing knowledge was evident. Rabbi Shmuly had a remarkable gift for bringing people together and engaging everyone with kindness and inspiration. Even after Rabbi Shmuly and Adina moved to New York, we kept them in our thoughts. Rabbi Shmuly never ceased to think of us. During his illness, he maintained a positive outlook on life that inspired all who knew him. He called me when my mother passed away and created a beautiful booklet to honor her memory, complete with her picture on the cover, meaningful prayers and important dates, including her yard site and for the 10 years to follow. He also took the time to congratulate us when our firstborn, Miriam, was born, all while managing his own health challenges. As I stand here today, I realize I may not have profound words of wisdom to share. Instead, I want to reflect on the legacy of love and acceptance that Rabbi Shmuly embodied His memory lives on through the lives he touched and the values he instilled in us. Let us honor him by carrying forward the warmth he shared, by being welcoming to others, and by nurturing our own Jewish identities as he encouraged us to do. Thank you.
All right. I would like to call up Dr. Eskin. He's going to say the Kel Malay. Where is he? Beautiful. After that video will be playing. It's okay, I don't even know.
I'd just like to say a few words before I came Mole. This has been a challenging year for me as my wife of 55 years passed away. Almost 11 months, I'm almost at the end of Kaddish. And Shmuly, when he heard, he wrote me a very nice mail in spite of, I'm sure, what he was suffering. And saying the Kalmali for him is as painful as it is when I said it to my wife. El mole rachamim shochein maramim hametzei menucha lechona al kanfei ashchina b'malos kedoshim utaharim k'zohar kiyamasirim es nishmas harav Shmuel ben harav Abraham sheholach le'alomo Bahavu shenod v'tzedakah b'yad hazkaras nishmasa b'gan Eden tehei menuchasa lochen balo rachamim yaskirehu b'seitze kenafav le'alamim Meyitzor b'tzarachayim es nishmasa Adonai hu nachaloso Ve'yanuach al mishkava b'shalom V'namar Amen.
That was beautiful. Right now we're going to have a video presentation followed by I'm going to say my mother. I wanted to do a whole introduction, but I don't think she'll let me. So followed by my mother.
We're going to wait for a minute till they put the sound together. I'm Adina's dad. I just want to say, even though we thought we'd have a different outcome, but this is so comforting and so beautiful to see what a crowd coming from California in the show business. I'm not in the show business, but there is a beginning and an end. The beginning was when we came during Sheva Brachot. We landed, my wife and I, during the week of Adina's wedding. Just tell me when it's working so I can sit down, okay? Just take at least 20 minutes so I can finish my thoughts.
I first encountered Shmuly back in, must have been 30, 40 years ago. Coming to the Alteins, Shmuly would distinguish himself from everyone else by coming to the guest and making sure that the guest was completely comfortable in that environment of his home. I recognized that this is somebody who had an exceptional gift to give to the world. I knew it without hesitation.
It was about 11 years ago. I was at this event towards the back in the corner, kind of feeling a little alone. And of course, who's standing beside me is Shmuly with Adina and baby Yossi. And he just strikes up a conversation just in the way that he always did, just brazenly. He sees somebody and makes a connection with them. And it started a very transformative friendship with him and Adina and with the family that has been really totally life-changing.
Everybody who knew Shmuly is a better person and contributing more to the community because of their encounter with Shmuly, by demonstrating how valuable it is for human beings to be kind to each other and to love each other and to support each other.
He would say, no, don't say religious versus not religious. Like, we're all Jews, you know, and we all matter, and you don't need to make distinctions between people. And he saw your neshama, and he saw where you were going and where you could go, and that's why his friendship and his teaching was so powerful.
The amount of energy that Shmuly and Adina put out. Shmuly had classes downtown with business people. Shmuly was at the assisted living facility next door to him, Sukkot at their place, and they would bring people in to taste the beauty of Yiddishkeit.
The genuine authenticity of the love for every Jew. So full of life, so full of wanting to share what he had with other people. Mm-hmm. And that desire to do that was greater than any limitation that he might have encountered.
Without Shmuly and his family, I would not be who I am today. Shmuly, Adina, the kids, happy, healthy, frum kids, what that shared with me had a tremendous, tremendous impact. It's something I always look towards as this is special. This is what I want my family to look like. This is what I want my home to look like.
There was a lot of Jewish residents at the Shaftesbury. He had taken a shine to my mother-in-law because both of them enjoyed laughing and joking, and so he always showed concern for her. He invited us over for Sukkot. He made you feel special when you met him.
You can imagine how everyone in this community who was totally reliant upon him and his family and what they were building on Shlichus, like how devastated we were for him. But it didn't become his identity, his sickness. He continued to choose life and to be himself. Even while he was sick, I remember he was in the hospital and it was during Hanukkah, and he did not let that deter him. He and Adina invited some people to light the Hanukkah candles in the little sanctuary at the hospital that I work at. It was so amazing, it was so beautiful. It was impossible to be sad. All the way to the very end, he was able to shift that energy and choose life, and that was extremely special.
Whatever they were doing in Winnipeg, they just continued it in Muncie. You can see a shift in the neighborhood when the Altein showed up. It's Wesley Hills before the Alteins and Wesley Hills after the Alteins showed up. The two of them and their kids, they really changed the entire neighborhood, whether that's with shiurim or inviting people over to their houses, and it kind of became like a very friendly, nice place.
What Shmuly brought to the Wesley Hills area, he took a bunch of people that lived in a bunch of houses in the neighborhood, and he brought them together. I've never seen anything like it in such a quick period of time. I think that was like his greatest message. His greatest message was achdus, and everybody care about what everybody else is going through. Don't just make it about yourself. Despite what you're going through, ask the other person, what are you going through? And listen to them. He was great. He was a great listener. He really was.
We called him the Shliach of Wesley Hills. When you spoke to Shmuly, he gave you his full attention. You felt like you were speaking to somebody who was focused on you and cared about you. Very powerful and unusual thing.
I saw Shmuly and I said, this can't be the person who is suffering with this cancer for such a long time. It's just impossible for a person to be this positive, this energetic, and suffering from this. You know, I always wonder, like, why is it that God does certain things to certain people? And it's like, and I've thought about this over and over again, and I think Shmuly's impact on the rest of us, I think, will have reverberations for 1,000 years. That with everything he was going through, he elevated every single person that he met, elevated them, made them feel they were seen. He lived to love. He lived to love. Who else lives to love? I'll tell you who. HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
He looked at another person with love and without judgment. And if we could bring that into our lives, we will have lit a candle for him.
He really appreciated everybody for the way they are. Like, you were able to just be yourself, not feel like the person that you're talking to is going to judge you in any way. I think he wanted to just be real with himself and with everybody around him.
I just remember like going up to the hospital room and meeting him for the first time, and just like being overtaken by this like warmth and happiness, like in the face of something that's so challenging, trying to make people smile even when I knew that he was going through such a hard time. Like, it was so inspirational to me. And also the care that he had for his family, like that was kind of like all he spoke about. At the Shiva, there was like a book of memories, and the first page of the book, his daughter had written, my father always tells me I'm beautiful. It's so simple, but it's so meaningful because like he just was able to appreciate things that were there. And that's choosing life.
The office where we are now isn't too far from Sloan Kettering, and whenever Shmuly needed a ride home, which was pretty often, we'd take those rides home together. Whenever Shmuly smiled, didn't matter how bad or how great of a day you had, that automatically lit up your entire world. You know, he shined. He would never come in the car complaining. He'd come in the car always with a smile. He was so happy like to live another day. He was so happy to get home, back to his family, back to his kids. And that was our discussion, really. You can ask 1,000 people what life is, and they will give you a different answer. But Shmuly really lived and breathed like the purest form of life, which was just appreciating every single moment, every single day, and every single moment that he had.
He just was a light. He was just a light.
With that light, with that torch, and with that flame that he was, he left these like little matches. You know, he left these little sparks all over the place. And if we can continue that, and if we can just try to inspire like Shmuly, try to give everybody a smile like Shmuly.
If I can see through whatever somebody's, mishugas and their any kind of dysfunction, and just get to the fact that there's a human here that has the same struggle and the same desires, the same needs, and the same growth opportunities as everybody else, then that's where Shmuly started with people.
There wasn't a crazy gift that Shmuly had that we can't have, as hard as it is. If we learn from Shmuly and just care truly for every single person, every single yid, and see how amazing every single yid is and what every single yid can become in the most genuine way, that's what Shmuly was.
He's impressed upon me something that I will take with me forever. It's a love of life, but it's a love of others. You could understand it, and it'd make you want to be a better person. So if I could take one thing, that would be giving me the ability to want to be like him.
My husband and I were having a bit of a moment. I think it was the day or two after. And missing him and thinking We were trying to fathom how this very special human being, this chassid, could no longer be in this world with us. And then we remembered what Shmuly taught us, that a person, when they die, it's like they're on the second floor and they're still with you. He did give us a path by choosing life in that way and sharing all those good things with others, that we should be able to follow and be able to know what to do in this situation. We have to also choose life.
People will forget what you said to them. They'll forget what you did for them, but they'll never ever forget how you made them feel. And that's the lesson that Shmuly could teach all of us, and that's why the impact on his life will be 1,000 years, because I know the way I treat people is affected by the way I saw Shmuly behave. And I'm hoping that the people that I attempt to treat that way will pay it forward and treat others that way.
Sometimes we get complicated with like Mishagasim, but the fundamental piece is a life dedicated to move wherever in the world is needed to be able to provide a home away from home. I can read through the accolades, but I think, like was mentioned here already, Shmuly lives on in this very building, in the streets of Winnipeg, in the Jewish calendar system, in the menorah parades, in the Pesach Seders, in the Shabbatons in Hekla. Have they been happening? We got to get that back. All right, who's taking it on? Who's taking it on? We need it. Perry. Shabbatons in Hekla, in Shmuly's honor. Of course, in Torah Tots preschool, in the many, many JLI events, the kosher nights out, in the kosher kitchen, etc., etc. Shmuly's blood flows through this building. And I remember my sweet husband, God bless his soul, amen, when we were doing the dedication of the outer mural, he wanted it to be the best of the best, because Winnipeg only deserved to be like the Jerusalem of North America. And we brought down a top-of-the-notch artist. What was his name? Remember? Muchnik, what's his first? Michal Muchnik, to make the gorgeous mural. If you take a look at it, there's a little farmer who's planting. It's in the hallway on the entranceway. And what he's planting is little aleph bet, little letters of aleph bet. And this is what as well brings me comfort to know that, this is what Shmuly has done. He has planted seeds within each and every one of us, seeds that will, Be'ezrat Hashem, continue to grow. Now that night, of course, God bless him. God could still bless him, right? Yes, of course. I mean, okay. Shmuly wanted to do something like amazing with food. So he said, Adina, we're getting a sushi chef specialist. And this was before the days of Allah, before the days that we had beautiful Dina and a gorgeous kosher kitchen functioning in the way that it does now, before the takeout. And he started asking his friends, so where is the best sushi place? And most of his friends would stare at him and be like, I don't think it's kosher. And he'd be like, just tell me the place. And of course, at the end of hours, Shmuly and I drove down Kenniston. I still don't remember the name of the place, but I know the location. There was a big, fancy sushi house. And just as it was closing, we had to walk over a bridge. There was koi fish on the bottom of the bridge. We walked over the bridge, and we started knocking on the window. The place was shutting down. It was the end of its day. And Shmuly said, we need to speak to the sushi chef. A week later, the sushi chef was cooking kosher sushi in our kitchen, serving the beautiful hors d'oeuvres for that opening event. One of Shmuly's greatest joys truly was, I did not understand this, but I think that I'm going to be taking this on, finding a Winnipegger out of Winnipeg. Whether we were in Israel or in Canada or in New York, we drove our special Vicar car the first time. The license plate was Chabad. So we had Manitoba Chabad, and we're staying in a very nice Jews summer home. And we just parked our car, we were doing our thing, starting our treatments, and we hear a knock on the door. They want to know, who is the Manitoba Chabad car? And of course it was Sam Shiel, a Winnipeg Yid, who we then reconnected with. And Sam very, very kindly and graciously would help us and take Shmuly to the hospital many times. But boy, oh boy, when he met a Winnipegger, it was as if he won the lottery. Can you imagine if we each carried that pride? Truly? Like, we're a pretty cool place, Winnipeg. We're all over the world. They used to say, never mind, I'm not going to say that joke. Now, Shmuly, as you can see in the back, was a little obsessed with quotes. Again, with his sharp mind, he wanted to be able to give a succinct thought with a punch. So downstairs in the women's mikveh, there is a beautiful wall decal with a blessing for a Jewish marriage when the women finished using the mikveh. And I remember how excited he was to find a way to do a writing on the wall that looked like the Rebbe's handwriting with that blessing. And in our home in Monsey, Shmuly started posting quotes on my walls. He used like the light masking tape, so it was okay. He did it very simply. And the first thing that he bought for my home was a big olive tree. And right near that olive tree, he posted a pasuk. He posted a verse from Tehillim 52:10 that goes like this: Va'ani kizayis ra'anan beves elokim batachti bechesed elokim olam va'ed. And I am like a fresh olive tree in the house of God. I have trusted in the kindness of God forever and ever. Now, if you noticed on the logo of the Uvacharta B'chaim, Choose Life, which is going to be the initiative that we hope to be able to continue Shmuly's legacy through many more projects and mitzvot, right in the middle is that olive tree. And olives are known for many things. They're known that during hard times when they're squeezed, beautiful light comes out. The light of the menorah is lit with them. And this pasuk was actually a metaphor for King David when he himself compared himself to a tree. That no matter how bad things got, no matter what the enemies would try to do for him, he remained strong and rooted. And how did he do that? Because he knew that batachti bechesed elokim olam va'ed, that he had trust in the kindness of Hashem forever. Now, Shmuly lived with this kind of trust. In 2014, I wonder if anyone here was with that delegation, Prime Minister Stephen Harper made his historic 4-day official visit to Israel. Anyone was here on that trip? Yes, okay, there we go, remember? That was the first time that a Canadian Prime Minister ever spoke in the Knesset. He also visited the Kotel, and he laid the cornerstone for the Hula Valley Sanctuary, which was a project that was funded by the Jewish National Fund of Canada. And Harper traveled with a big delegation, businessmen, political, community leaders, and Shmuly and I got the great honor of joining together with a beautiful group from Winnipeg. Now, at that time, Bob Friedman was the president, and unfortunately, on the way home, come tell the story. Okay, I'll just say one part. On the way home, there was a small medical emergency. Thank God it wasn't Shmuly at that time. We got used to those emergencies years after. And the plane needed to make an emergency landing in Copenhagen, in Denmark. This was my perspective. People running, who, what, when, where, and Shmuly taking this bracelet that he wore, which says on it, Tracht gut, vet sein gut. Traditionally, it's explained to mean, think good and it will be good. In our family, we like to say, Tracht Gott, vet sein gut. Believe in God, and then we will see God's hand in all that we do. He took this bracelet off, he stuck it on, Bob, on your hand, And off he went. And then he made some calls. And sure enough, his colleague, the Shliach, Rabbi Yitzi Lowenthal, made sure to meet you on the landing and take good care of you. But this was Shmuly. There wasn't a moment where he wouldn't give something off his chest, give his shirt off his back, however that phrase goes, and just be that beacon of strength and trust during hard times. In the past few years, our family faced myriads of difficulty. Our faith has been put to the test, and we were humbled again and again. I remember one time, Shmuly needed 7 weeks of radiation on his leg. And for those of you that have been, unfortunately, in a hospital setting, when you complete your treatment and the treatment is successful, or maybe different hospitals have different ways of conducting it, there's a big string and a bell, and you get to ring the bell and everybody celebrates that you made it through the treatment. Now, it was towards the beginning of Shmuly's treatments, and it was particularly hard. And you know, Shmuly, a little trickster, he tries to sneak over to get the bell going. And a nurse comes right in front of him like this. And he said, and again, ever so politely, she tried. She says, "I'm sorry, but you can't ring the bell today. You didn't yet complete your treatment, and you're not yet fully healed. So we're gonna need you to wait, but don't worry. Hopefully there'll be a time where you will be able to ring that bell." So Shmuly and I don't like no for an answer. So guess what we went and got? Our own bell. And every night, we celebrated and we gained hope and strength that we made it through that day. And that was enough. Now, little did I know that the last few years with Shmuly was a sort of training that hopefully will help me get through the hardest nisayon, the hardest challenge I have faced as of yet. I can't even see what I wrote here. I find myself on a gesher tsar mode, on a very, very narrow bridge. I know that no rock was left unturned, no prayer was left unsaid, no kindness was left undone for Shmuly. And God, for a reason we cannot understand, said no. I am very afraid. I'm heartbroken. I'm trying to move forward as best as I can. Each and every moment, there are those days, which maybe more of us experience than we care to admit. Those days when the darkness threatens to overtake me. And the fear of the future, of the tremendous responsibilities that lay ahead. Mostly you five. Where are you guys? It often feels like a tornado, the perfect storm. And it's in these moments that I try to remember this pasuk that Shmuly almost prophetically posted in my living room. Va'ani kezayis ra'anan. I am like a fresh olive. Beveis Elokim, in the house of God. Batachti, I trust. B'chesed Elokim olam va'ed. In God's kindness forever and ever. And I try to dig my feet into the roots, to my roots, to hold on to the visions of my ancestors who showed up and showed strength before me. And I try to lean into the whispers, the tens of people across the globe who have told me, I'm not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. And what has been helping me is actually to conjure up an image of the Tzahal, the Jewish army. Sometimes we need to soldier on. We don't understand necessarily even the assignment. But imagine if we can soldier on with the spirit and the energy and the positivity that the Tzahal shows us day in, day out. And Mosi J, Israeli Goldie Yassi, maybe we could continue this tradition. And the little steps that we make, we can use to encourage each other. What do you think, Gold? Yes? Towards the very end, Shmuly was staying in, again, another neighbor's summer home. It was at that time where he needed a full-time aide and he wasn't able to walk on his own. It was just around the block of my home. But day and night blurred. And I wasn't sure if I was coming or going. My parents moved in to take care of my children. Thank you, and my sisters and family. And I had this thought. I felt like I was sleepwalking. But as I'm walking back and forth, it was actually one of my most simplest times of my life. You know, I get a little hyperactive in my mind. I think there must be like a clinical name for whatever's going on up here. Anxiety, ABC, OCD, LMNOP, something. But for these couple of weeks, although I was sleepwalking, my mission was very clear. My children, Shmuly. Shmuly, my children. Nothing else mattered. And it popped into my head that perhaps instead of sleepwalking, we need to coin a term called soul walking. The walk of a mission, the walk of something greater than ourselves, the walk of a space that doesn't divide us but unites us. And so I begin my journey soul walking, and I invite you all to do the same. In closing, I want to thank each and every one of you. Our family spent 12 years here, and because of this community, you laid the foundation to a special, special marriage for me and Shmuly. What happens with the dynamic duo now? I need some, we keep going? You'll give me some tips after. Okay. For providing the fertile soil that laid the foundation to raise our 5 beautiful children. And now it really gives me great comfort to know that Shmuly's blood flows through these very walls. And the matches, as we saw in the video, that was left with each of you, the seeds that he planted, may they all blossom with ease and abundance. As my mother-in-law mentioned, before one leaves a Shiva house, the house of mourning, there is this pasuk, and it was very interesting during our Shiva. People would come over to me shaking, and they'd say, I'm so sorry that I have to say this to you. The famous verse of Hamakom Yinachem. And I was shocked by it. Because we tend to take on things that don't belong to us. The situation with Shmuly was God alone. Am Yisrael, world over, we did all we could. Every doctor, every new possible treatment, again, no rock was left unturned. And yet we have within our tradition a tool that gives us a chance to comfort each other. Hamakom Yinachem Eschem is a gift. And so I want to end tonight by offering this blessing to all of us. Because I know, even though I didn't like it all the time, that Shmuly wasn't just for me, I had to share him. And I want to end by wishing each and every one of you Hamakom Yinachem Eschem Besoch Shar Avalei Tzion B'Yerushalayim. May Hashem comfort you in this month of Menachem Av, in this very, very important month. May Hashem comfort all of us in the way that only He knows how. Thank you.
1 minute.
I'd like to say thank you to Nachman for helping to organize it.
Until now, we heard about Rabbi Shmuly's impact, how it's still with us and with all of us. Every living thing grows, doesn't just stay the same. So if the impact is staying with us, we make sure it's alive, it will grow. I would just like to make one or a few short announcements, what we can do to try to grow Rabbi Shmuly's impact here. Number one is that we heard before at Dvar Torah from JJ. And one of the things that Rabbi Shmuly did already before he was married, he used to bring yeshiva boys to Winnipeg and try to study with others, and would study with others, and you still hear about it today. And JJ is going to come in a few weeks for a weekend and do the same. And it's all going to be, I heard tonight that this will all be sponsored by a very generous person in this community. Ben, right here. Thank you. And another thing just is, there are many ideas. Shmuly always had a lot of creative ideas to expand Chabad's activities. So you have on the pamphlets out on each table, we have some of the ideas that Shmuly spoke about in the past and things that we will want to do. One of them that we already spoke about is Manitoba Mitzvah Mobile, which is something that he did also for Sukkot and for Hanukkah. This is talking about doing it the whole year. We had the coordination of Larry here, helping us to take care of this. And that will be a mitzvah mobile to go around and visit and help other people. Of course, the yeshiva experience, that's what JJ was doing. We hope to be able to do the same with an additional Chabad representative, as Rabbi Shmuly always wanted. And the expansion of what he really built, the Torah Tots and the school, rebranding the Tamim Academy. And if you would like to support that, you're always welcome, of course. Another thing just is, I want to say thank you to Keith, who's been taking pictures tonight and was doing this for Shmuly. And Rabbi Shmuly had an idea to make an exhibition of Keith's pictures of Judaica, corresponding to the mitzvah campaigns of Chabad. And we hope to do that by next year. By the first yard site, we're going to have that exhibition up and running due to Keith's generosity. Thank you.
All right, we're going to bring this to an ending. First off, the start of the ending, I guess. I want to say thank you, truly, to everyone here for showing up. It means a lot to all of us. Thank you to the Chabad crew who took over a little bit. We always thought we'd be coming back and leading more and doing more. So thank you all for stepping in and stepping beyond. And yeah, just thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to share one thought. And that thought is, as perfectly as we described my father today, and has incredibly beyond he seems, one thing that always struck me was how human he was with everything. He was very relatable. Like my sister said, with a coffee or a piece of cake, or just in general, every little thing, a laugh, a this, a that. He was so human in every way. And that's what made him so incredible, was that it wasn't like some lofty person that's so perfect. You have to wow, I look up to you. We looked up to him because he was human and he owned it in every way. And definitely something I try to emulate. And when my father first came here, the very first flyer he sent out to all the Jewish addresses was something pretty bold, I would say. There was a little Moses holding a paintbrush with 3 pails of paint, a red pail of paint, a yellow pail of paint, and a blue pail of paint. And on each pail of paint, one said conservative, one said orthodox, and one said reform. And the caption for this brochure was, "Labels are for shirts." So with that thought, labels are for shirts. Let's all turn to each other. Let's get rid of the labels. Let's get rid of the boundaries. Let's get rid of the walls and labels, I guess you could say. I'm trying to think of another word for that we put up. Share memories. We're all here. The evening is ending. My father's memory is going to continue forever. So feel free to share it. Get to know Chabad. Good night. Thank you.